But the mere fact that a 7-year-old boy was an unintended target has this neighborhood and police enraged. Here we are on this very somber anniversary indeed for her family, and there are still very few answers. Heather, the suspected killer had just arrived back here at the Winchester police station following a very long ride from North Carolina, but he wasted no time admitting his guilt. Emily, he wasn't the fastest participant, nor was he the most athletic, but in this theater that is the Boston Marathon, Michael Malamed is quite possibly the most inspiring. Death suspicious, Ed, because there were signs of trauma. But here we are, 48 hours after her body was found inside her Revere home, and still no arrests and no one in custody. The death of any student really does have a profound effect on the soul of a campus. Right now, many students are gathered at the heart of Endicott College, the end of a day of orientation activities, getting ready to begin the fall semester tomorrow, and doing so with heavy hearts.
Here we go again.
It has been a busy month.
They wake up and now there's a new storm.
And for the third time in as many weeks, members of Massachusetts Task Force 1 will again head straight into the aftermath of yet another catastrophic storm, this time to Puerto Rico, left in ruins by Hurricane Maria.
Searching structures, searching debris.
It will be a life safety mission for the 27 team members and 2 dogs.
Well, what she does is she searches for people that are hidden underground, under rubble, stuff like that.
The team spending today beneath Jose's reins, consolidating supplies and packing equipment. John Carolyn just got back from Puerto Rico, helping after Hurricane Irma.
It'll be interesting to see what we step into when we get off tomorrow. There are a number of teams that are already there that are hunkering down right now in San Juan, waiting for the storm to pass.
Including 6 members of the Massachusetts team, who took this video of the storm passing through and took these pictures showing the before and after. Chuck Flanagan also heading to the battered island. He spent 21 days in Texas for Harvey.
You don't wish any ill will on anybody, but if it happens, you want to be one of the players.
And that's our main focus, is to help save lives and make it better for those that find themselves in this situation.
The length of the mission itself is open-ended, and when the team leaves is also unknown, because right now one of the top priorities in Puerto Rico is getting those airports back open. Chilling new details emerging about Bella Bond's death, how the little girl may have died, and what happened to her body after she was murdered. A source tells 5 investigates the body of the young murder victim was kept in a refrigerator after she was killed. We have also learned that Bella's mother, Rochelle Bond, says her boyfriend punched the almost 3-year-old girl several times in the stomach, causing her death. That man, Michael McCarthy, will be charged with Bella's murder, and Bella's mother faces a charge of accessory to her murder after the fact.
They didn't appear to be people that should be in charge of someone else, to be honest.
Neighbors still grasping the troubling details of Bella's death.
It hurts us that this child died.
As complete strangers prayed along the rocky shoreline on Deer Island where her body was found. On their knees, hands pressed on the pavement, sobbing for this chubby-cheeked, brown-eyed angel.
I have 2 kids myself.
For some parents, paying respects here,
sorry,
a subject too tough to discuss.
It's sad to see how many people would care for such a young girl and their own family couldn't even do that.
For 85 days, investigators tried desperately to put a name to this girl. During that time, Rochelle Bond and Michael McCarthy were desperate to keep their crime hidden. It would be a tip from a Billerica woman last week that put police in the direction of this Dorchester apartment. In her brief life, Bella Bond was known by few. It is in her death where she has touched the lives of so many.
I just feel a little happy for her, for people to bring this stuff to her.
Rochelle Bond and Michael McCarthy will be arraigned Monday. It will be at that arraignment we will learn much more information as prosecutors lay out the case against the pair. The 7-year-old girl survived a roughly 100-foot fall from that bridge right there, and then she swam roughly 100 yards to a nearby home for safety, and all of that in the dark and after she had been kidnapped and choked. The 290 bridge connects Worcester and Shrewsbury. Roughly 100 feet separate the highway and the lake below. It is from where a 7-year-old girl was thrown.
If she took the fall the wrong way, it could have been bad.
The girl survived that plunge and upon impact had the wherewithal to swim to this home about 100 yards away and knock on the door. A woman answered.
And found the 7-year-old victim standing at her door in pajamas soaking wet.
The girl was sleeping on a chair in her grandparents' Worcester home early Sunday morning. Prosecutors say Josh Hubert, a good friend to the victim and her family, kidnapped the girl, drove around with her in his car, at one point choked her before tossing her over the bridge into the chilly waters of Lake Quinsigamond.
The victim had contusions on her forearm and her wrist. She had petechial hemorrhages on her face, scalp, eyes, and behind her ears. She had marks on her neck that are consistent with strangulation.
Police still trying to figure out why Hubert took the girl. No one at the victim's family home wanted to speak with us, and Hubert's Worcester home had several handmade no trespassing signs. His court-appointed attorney said very little after his arraignment.
All I can tell you is we're maintaining innocence at this time.
Josh Hubert is being held without bail until his next hearing on Thursday. Expect more charges to be filed against him. In the meantime, Worcester police now asking businesses in the Lincoln Street area, Lincoln Street's not too far from here, for any surveillance video footage they may have of the suspected kidnapper's car, described to be a light-colored Saturn. All the people who ran or walked across the finish line here, none did it with more grace than Adrian Hazlitt Davis. The elegant steps of a professional ballroom dancer were the only things moving along Boylston Street this morning. Adrian Hazlitt Davis fox-trotted across the marathon finish line and trampled on the memory of losing her left leg 2 years ago.
Just returning to the finish line in itself is so emotional and so difficult, but I'm so incredibly thankful to have a new memory here.
Hazlitt Davis was with her husband outside Forum Restaurant when the second of two explosions blasted marathon spectators. She returned today as part of an online campaign highlighting her inspiring comeback.
It's helping others see difficulties in their own lives and showing them that they can overcome and they can overcome any obstacle.
Among the onlookers in awe of her performance, Brian Walker, who was at the finish line when the first bomb went off and rendered aid to the injured.
I just thanked her for being such a positive influence on everybody. You know, her strength to come down here and keep fighting 2 years later and have that victory dance on the finish line.
Adrian's recovery continues, as does her husband's. Better on the outside, she says, than on the inside, but getting better every day. Some of her biggest steps taken just this morning for her and for her city.
Any little step that Boston takes to heal is a step forward for all of us.
Adrian did testify in the sentencing phase last week. She took no questions, though, regarding the trial today, saying this morning's event was simply too happy of a moment to talk about anything else.
I'm Nicole Burley.
And I'm Reid Reel. We have Storm Team 5 coverage of Hurricane Jose tonight. Meteorologist A.J. Burnett watching its impact along the coast. But we begin with Chief Meteorologist Harvey Leonard. And Harvey, we just got a new advisory. What says the advisory?
Yes, we did. Well, no change in the tropical storm in just a few minutes. Reid.
A.J., thank you. Stay with News Center 5 on air and online as the storm approaches New England. Of course, you can always keep track of Hurricane Jose by downloading the free WCVB app. News Center 5. Switching gears now to sports headlines. The Patriots get win number 1 on the season after that heartbreaking loss just over a week ago. But the other big headline tonight, Gronk leaving the field with an injury. Sports Center 5's Mike Lynch has an update. All right, Reid, it's officially
News Center 5.
Students in Dudley tonight mourning their teacher and former principal after he was tragically killed in a car crash. A memorial made of flowers and cards for John Pear has been growing on the steps of Dudley Middle School all weekend long. Pear left school Friday afternoon to head home to Charlton. He was riding his bike down Route 20 when he was hit and killed. Pear was the principal at Dudley Middle School for 9 years, but he stepped down to become a teacher again so he could spend time with his own children.
John was a guy who was pretty rare, completely genuine. He was just all about the kids all the time. We're never going to be able to find another guy like that. But, you know, like I said, when you work with kids and kids look to you, you have no choice. You just have to pick your head up and go forward and do what you have to do for them.
The driver who hit Pear did stay at the scene. Police have not filed any charges.
On Tuesday.
New on 5 tonight, there has been a significant development in a 25-year-old unsolved murder. Tomorrow, the Hamden District Attorney will hold a press conference with an update on the Lisa Zygarde case. The middle school teacher from Agawam was abducted in April of 1992. 4 days later, her body was found in a wooded area about 4 miles from where she was abducted. Her death was ruled a homicide that has never been solved. Well, tomorrow, stay with News Center 5. We'll let you know what this significant development is in our newscasts and online.
Next on News Center 5.
A worker falls from a Ferris wheel and survives. The problem he was trying to fix when he had that scary accident.
People in the Florida Keys are finally returning to their homes.
It's heartbreaking. Now I'm going to have to think about rebuilding.
And figuring out rebuilding isn't the only challenge they're facing. Methuen police want to identify 2 teenagers teenagers who broke into the high school. Officers called to Methuen High last night where they found an open door in the ice rink area and some ceiling tiles damaged. Security video shows two teenagers about high school age trying the outside doors and then later shows them inside the building. You're taking a closer look at the two. This was actually the second time police were called to the school yesterday, but they were not able to find any damage during that first call. 1 week after Hurricane Irma barreled across Florida, the Keys are finally fully reopened, but officials are warning homeowners, return at your own risk. Conditions still dangerous as crews work to clear out the debris and restore essential services. For so many residents of the Florida Keys, the journey home really begins when they pass those final checkpoints and listen to the warning.
The Keys are not what you left several days ago when you evacuated.
Nothing can prepare someone for this. Homes and neighborhoods devastated.
This is your first time back here?
First time back. It's a strange feeling because this is my dream house. I built it. I designed it and had it built. And
this is kind of what's left of it right now.
What's left of it.
Dean Madison returned to his house in Cudjoe Key, where Hurricane Irma made its first U.S. landfall.
It's heartbreaking. Now I'm going to have to think about rebuilding.
Madison had to search for his boats, which ended up hundreds of feet away on a neighbor's dock.
It's an old boat, and the true value isn't that high. So
it's been a slow process to get the Keys reopened. Irma's winds and storm surge so powerful, Monroe County says it hasn't been able to fully gauge the damage. Reassessing the roads took time, forcing evacuees to wait and trapping the people who chose to stay and ride out the storm.
We should have evacuated, but we thought we would be okay, but it's just... I'm sorry.
Recovery will be slow. Search and rescue teams are still on the ground looking for any victims.
Everybody in there? Anybody hear me?
As crews work overtime trying to clear debris. Hundreds of thousands of Floridians are still without power, which means no air conditioning, and for many, no clean drinking water.
Bring your supplies, bring your water, just be self-sufficient.
All right, looking back on Irma, looking ahead towards Hurricane Jose.
Jose, Maria. It doesn't end, Harvey.
Right, it's incredibly active. I just want to say an update. Reid, Nicole.
All right, Harvey, thank you so much. Some sports headlines coming up right after the break, including the Red Sox who lose more than just a game this afternoon down in Tampa.